Hello and welcome to another Figuring Out Japan video. We sell all the coolest Japanese collectibles and figurines straight out of Japan. And you can find more details about us in the description of this video, including our eBay store and our Facebook page. Now, for those of you who collect Japanese figurines and things, I do apologize because this video is obviously not of that. It is a vintage Lego pirate set, and I've been reviewing. This has really been a personal project of mine. Because I grew up with Lego. I've been a big fan of Lego, like a lot of people, and the reason really that I fell in love with Lego was because of these vintage Lego pirate sets. And Lego released the 2015 series, and I think it's a decent series, but I don't feel that it's really as good as the vintage sets. And I also noticed that, I guess because of the different eras, there's very little videos on YouTube of some of these sets, and so I thought I would, share these. But each time I make one of these videos, I think it's going to be my last, and then lo and behold, I managed to find something else that's worthwhile collecting and make another video. So, yeah, so now I'm just sort of going to show you this particular set and just sort of move the camera around, and I'll be doing a lot of talking as well, so I hope you can put up with my annoying voice. So firstly, you'll be wondering, well, what actually is this set? This was actually sold as a modified version of the Sea Fork, which is an alternate name of the Caribbean Clipper. They had alternate names back then, I don't know why. So there was like the Black Seas Barracuda was the Dark Shark, and the Rock Refuge is Port Jamaica and all that sort of stuff. But it's actually more accurate to really call it a modified version of the Black Seas Barracuda. Because the design elements and the pieces are essentially the same as that, but obviously it's been modified into a soldier's version. And you're probably wondering, well, why would somebody bother to do that? So originally when Lego released that set, which was the very first Lego pirate set, Lego pirate ship, they also released the Caribbean Clipper, which I'll show you at the end for a size comparison. And the reason why, as I spoke about in the review of that video, is because, and this is just me guessing here, but because basically, Lego was even more expensive back then than it was today. I've actually done an inflation adjusted comparison in the description, which you can read. And so most people just couldn't afford these sets. I know my parents certainly couldn't afford to buy a set like this. And so people certainly couldn't afford two. So they released a smaller version, or a smaller ship, which was the Caribbean Clipper, which to me makes perfect sense. But the disadvantage of that is that if you want to have them like equally fighting, it's pretty hard to do that. And sorry, I'm being distracted by showing you all this. So I forgot what I was saying. Yeah, so I mean the pirates were always sort of made out to be the heroes, even though technically they're the bad guys. So they were the ones that always had the big ships and the cool ships. But the Caribbean Clipper actually was a pretty important release because it actually was the biggest Imperial or Marine ship right up until 2010 when Lego released an absolute massive ship, over 16,000 pieces. This has probably around 800. And so yeah, for 20 years it was the biggest marine ship, and it also was and still is the only blue coat ship. So of course later they had the red coats, and so that's why it's the Caribbean Clipper is very sought after. So obviously whoever made this ship decided to make a sort of to have them on equal footing, decided to make a sort of marine version of this, which, to be honest, I don't think I'd really want to have the, two more or less exactly the same ships but different colors, to be honest. I do have the actual Black Seas Barracuda, but it's currently on the other side of the world, so I can't, but I have the Skulls Eye Schooner, which I'll also show you at the end for a size comparison. So actually for those two it's actually pretty cool, to have the Skulls Eye Schooner with a full size marine ship. But apart from that one in 2010, the really big one, which already like sells for like 600 plus, you know, your best bet is kind of getting the Caribbean Clipper. So it's pretty hard to get. My fingers are getting awfully tangled here. Yeah, it's pretty hard to sort of get that. So that's why somebody's gone to the trouble of, I guess, making this, which yeah, you can sort of understand the logic, I guess. So yeah, I don't think there's too much I sort of have to talk about the history, but a lot of people consider the Black Seas Barracuda, which is essentially the design that you see in front of you, consider it the best ship. I'd probably put myself in that category, to be honest. Getting the Skulls Eye schooner recently, I really sort of fell in love with that, but I still think that probably the Black Seas Barracuda just looks a little bit more elegant. I mean, it's not really the purpose of this video to review that ship, but I mean, I may as well show you anyway. But just the back, actually, it's a shame because whoever actually made this actually changed the back. I'm interested what set those pieces are from. I've never seen them before. But the back actually looks really, really nice on the Black Seas Barracuda, so it's a shame they changed that. But yeah, it's sort of got like thatch windows, and yeah, it just looks really good. I'm sure you can find pictures of it, or you can see in the instructions. Those windows do actually open, so open them, so they open up, and then the wooden doors at the front also open up. You've got two, so the fact that it's got nice wooden doors, obviously it's not real wood. And then this sort of multi-level thing here. You've got the 4 doors that open up. Cannons that really fire, they really shoot. They fire pretty well too. Those doors open up as well, so you've sort of got like whole sort of underneath level. You can't stand the figures up, but you know, it's still pretty cool. So yeah, this is not exactly like, there are little things that are a little bit different compared to the original one, but I can tell you, you know, I remember when this came out, I'm old enough to remember, it was like, it just blew people's minds because Lego had not released sets as large or as complicated as this before. They're the figurehead from the Caribbean Clipper, the 2 yellow birds. So it was pretty cool, you know, to have like anchors and cannons and like little parts that you could put your figures up on here. And it's really big, like I'll show you all the size comparisons at the end. But in terms of modifying this, as I said, it's effectively the same as the Black Seas Barracuda. Some notable changes, obviously they've changed the colours of these blue, and they've also changed the like cannon doors blue. They've obviously changed the sails, the flags, the minifigures. I actually got 13 minifigures, including the Rare Governor, so I was pretty happy with that. And there's a sergeant in there too, on the left. They're pretty hard to get, the blue coat minifigs. And what else was different? Yeah, so the yellow birds at the front. So clearly, at least 2 Caribbean Clippers and a Dark Seas Barracuda have been sacrificed in order to make this set. So yeah, now the rudder, actually, it's missing the rudder. The rudder is actually that, so I've got the clips as well. I need to sort of put all that together. So it's not really meant to look like that. But yeah, they also added a compass. Now this compass actually works. It really does point to true north, so if I move the ship around, you can see it moving. It's a bit hard to show. But yeah, it does actually point to true north. But they didn't originally have that in this particular series. They actually brought that in the next Pirate Wave, so someone's obviously, whoever made this, which as I said wasn't me, has added that. I added this in too, the real one, the original doesn't have that. But yeah, so that just sort of gives you, I just thought it'd be something cool to show. I'd love to see people make more videos of the vintage sets. I've seen some really cool pictures of custom sets on the internet, particularly like modified Eldorado fortresses and the sort of bases rather than just the ships. It's pretty hard to make custom really large ships because you can't really change the width of the ship because of the way that these pieces are molded. So as the longer you make it, the more it just looks silly. It looks like a cruise liner more than anything. So you could actually maybe have like 2 abreast and like connect them in the side and have like a plank or something, but then how you sort of make it all work at the front and the back, it's a bit difficult. You could do it. I've never really seen anyone do it, so there's a bit of a challenge to people out there. I'm also interested, were the yellow birds available in any other set other than the Caribbean Clipper? I don't know, that's a question as well to the enthusiasts out there. So as promised, I will actually show you a size comparison to the Caribbean Clipper. So the one in the foreground is the actual sort of commercially released set. There's a lot of flags and things there. But if I sort of put them abreast at the front, so they're basically even at the front there, you can see the size difference at the back. So there's a pretty big difference in the size of them, but still 2 cannons versus 2 cannons. So obviously this one doesn't have a very large inside cabin, it's not enclosed, but you can see the difference, that it is kind of worth, you know, 2 masts as well, that sort of stuff. So Caribbean Clipper is not a terribly big ship. It is very expensive though, for the reasons that I said before, being that it's the only blue coat ship and also the largest ship until 2010. And again, as promised, I have to be very careful here. We have the Skulls Eye Schooner. So this was the second pirate ship released in the early 90s, a couple of years later after the Black Seas Barracuda. Now I was actually really surprised that when I put these together, I actually noticed that in terms of the length, they are basically the same. Which kind of makes sense really, because I guess the molds of the base are the same. But the height, the custom Imperial soldier ship's actually taller. So maybe that's because it's modified, because I'm pretty sure the original one is smaller. In fact, I basically know it's smaller. So yeah, so I'm glad it wasn't just my imagination, it was actually pretty big. So there you go, there's a comparison of size. I've added some extra cannons and things in this one too. But yeah, there you go. Those doors and things. Anyway, I'm not going to talk about this ship. You can see the review of that one, because I could talk forever about either of these ships really. But anyway, so to summarize that, I just thought that'd be something cool. I hope that sort of motivates maybe people to make their own cool designs. I don't have instructions for this set, but hopefully from this video, if you wanted to do it, you could. Or, you know, it's basically a Black Seas Barracuda, frankly, so you don't really need instructions. And yeah, I thought it was really cool. I'm really glad that I got it. It wasn't cheap, but I'm certainly glad to have it in my collection. And I hope that inspires you guys to go and make something cool as well. And yeah, I just thought it'd be fun to share and sort of show you guys some of the vintage stuff. You know, I realized, because there's not many videos of the vintage stuff, people who just know the newer stuff, maybe just to sort of quickly show you some of the differences. But just, I think the main difference between the old ships and the new ships are just the detail really in the base. Like the new ones are pretty much empty, but here you can see, I remember building, you know, this set, the Black Seas Barracuda. You spend like most of the time building stuff that you don't even see. Like it's all the underneath stuff, and you know, there's a lot going on there. Same with inside the cabin. You know, just a lot going on there. So I think it's around 750 pieces from memory, which apparently is about the same as the new ones, but I don't know, it's hard to, like even all these, you know, all these pieces, like these are just one piece in the new ones, but here that's probably about 13 pieces roughly. So yeah, I don't know, just a lot of elements. So I hope you enjoyed that video. It's a custom Black Seas Barracuda, aka, or customized Caribbean Clipper vintage Lego pirate set. Thank you very much for watching.